All right, so we might as well talk about the A and B side singles that you released recently.
Oh yeah,
So you
dude.
got
Yeah, yeah.
Birdcage, you got Gravity, which
Mm-hmm.
absolutely slam. They are
Oh,
so
mate.
good.
Thank you, mate.
So when the album in terms of recording, was that like recently, or was that way in the pipeline? It was all this big master plan of when you was going to start releasing stuff.
So it kind of the release itself played out the way we wanted it to play out, even though the entire universe didn't play out the way we'd hoped it would play out. But those two songs did come out when we kind of wanted them to come out. So it was after we had released album 1 March last year. Scott, James, and Lucas had been like doing some more like I'm not sure how like common knowledge it is, but we had written some songs for the album, for the first album, with a guy called Dan Weller. And
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, and
yeah. Young
the
Guns, yes.
yes, dude, yeah. And he reached out and was like, "Oh, I'd love to do some more." So, when after we had released the first record, we were like, "Let's, essentially go in as soon as we can." So we got off tour with Being as an Ocean Counterparts in April, and then I can't remember when in May, but May, that year, the guys had gone down and had presented him with a couple ideas and been like, "Oh, because Scott had only recently joined the band, really, and he had only, I guess, maybe written 2 songs for the album. So his like drive was just like way up here. So it was like he was so keen to write. And I remember getting sent the initial demo for Gravity and just thinking, oh, this is sick. Like, this is so sick. And that was, then between I think it would have been May and maybe July. We'd worked on these two and Birdcage as well. We worked on these 2 songs. To be fair, with Birdcage, Lucas is definitely the person to talk to about this, because he had kind of like a voice memo or a demo for that song for a little while, like that I'm a sinner like hook he had for a little while. And that essentially became something while they were, in the room with Dan. And the recording session sort of came about when our tour with Being as an Ocean in the US got cancelled. We'd found out that the visas like hadn't been successful, so that like day after, we all met in Cardiff, and we were just a bit like like kicking up, like kind of bummed. And we were like, oh, like what should we do? And I remember I think it was James had said, let's just record can we just do something? Let's just record 2 songs. Let's just record Gravity and Birdcage maybe. And I just remember being like, oh, like, yeah, let's do that. Like, that's sick. Let's definitely do that. And we could see Ryan's brain ticking, and he was just like, yeah, who could we get to record these? What about Ramesh? And we were like, yeah, whatever. Let's get Ramesh to do it. And then he fired out an email and had got Nolly on board to mix it as well. So it was like,
Oh, nice.
we'd sort of got this like superstar team of, Dan Weller helping us write the songs, Ramesh producing the songs, Nolly mixing the songs, and the recording.
That's a dream team. That.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but Jesus.
Yeah, literally. So that happened. I think it was the end of September. So we were kind of hoping it would have been around about the time we were going to be in America. So we were like, it kind of gave us something to work towards. So yeah, that whole recording process was great. I think we spoke about it in the first episode of like our little band podcast.
You did. I was going to mention that because you put in the Lucas's voice memo as well.
Yeah. So, that would have been it.
That's embedded in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that on that podcast, we like briefly touched on like what it was like to record with Ramesh. I don't know if you guys have ever like been to Ramesh's studio, but it's like, it was so nice to be able to go to a studio and then go home like afterwards. It was the first, when we had done the album, it was a bit like choppy and a bit kind of not all over the place, because there was obviously like structure to it, and there was sort of like this. We did the first half, then did the second. We did it in 2 halves.
Yeah.
But being able to kind of do the two songs the similar way we had done Penance and Heaven Knows, but be able to go home, you know, and like have dinner at home.
Unwind, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it was just really nice. So that process was really, really fun. And yeah, working with like Ramesh was something that we'd always kind of like hoped we would be able to do, but then in the capacity of like being able to do it with something that was like, you know, let's do singles, was like perfect, because it was kind of like that, a million miles an hour, you know, for the time we were in there,
Yeah.
really like trying to get things to happen while we were there. It was so good. And yeah, the videos, like, we did Gravity with Zach, who is like the Don Godfather daddy of music videos in the UK. And we did Birdcage. So Birdcage got filmed like during lockdown. I think it got filmed maybe 2 or 3 days before we put it out. Basically, the girl who is on the front of the I don't know where my copy of it is. I have a copy somewhere up here, but I don't know where it is. But the lady who is on the front of the Gravity side of the AA, that's Faisal's sister, Zahara. And so basically they like live in the same house. So, you know, we were like, oh, we need to kind of get something for the Birdcage video done. And I think either Fez had called me or I had called Fez, and I was just like, oh, what would you recommend? Do you reckon you'd film some stuff for us with Zahara in like a day? He was like, yeah, I'll do it tonight. I'll do it tomorrow. He was like, oh, go on then. And he was like, yeah. And then later that day, the day after, had sent me this like huge drive folder with all the videos, and I was like, man, I can't believe you actually did it. Like, he smashed it. He's such a like, literally going back to what we were talking about earlier, he's such a like go-getter. Like, he'll just do something, you know.
Yeah.
So driven towards it.
Yeah, and it was so like, it's so class to still like have that. I don't want to say like work it, because it's not really like it's like like it is like a genuine friendship with Fez, you know, because the more sort of, you know, as we kind of do our bits, like the more like just genuine like love I have for Fez, because he's so passionate about everything he does. Like when I've been with him, when he was doing some visuals for Loathe stuff, I was with him in, I think this would have been like maybe December, just after we had done like a Europe tour. And he was like, yep, stay up all night and we'll do these videos. I was like, yeah, okay, man. Yep. I was like a shell of a human, but he was so like, he was so keen to just like do it all in a night. I was like, mate, you're wild. You are. Like, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed from like the early days when we used to tour. It was just, he's just always been such a like a fiend for just being so creative and just so like driven, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like, so those two singles are very like, it was kind of like our way of being, or trying to be like not a bad, you know, sort of, this thing has happened with America. How do we sort of reclaim our time? How do we sort of reclaim like,
Yeah.
You turned it around into like a positive thing to do.
Yeah, fully. And we've always kind of been like an active you know, when we first started, it was like